Yeah. I've got 2:59 on my time. So if we maybe wait another minute.
Okay, I'll watch for him and let him in when he joins.
Okay.
I just have a question for Chantal.
Yep.
Did we ever receive the updated plan for the new house, Luuk and DeHaan?
No, we, well, there was one submitted, but it really didn't change all that much. They just changed the dimension. So I didn't think it was of any value of showing or passing it along to the committee. But I think what happened is through the conditions that Mariana has put on, that we'll get a better plan before we even would allow a building permit to come in. So, but I guess if the committee feels they want they want that information before making a decision, then they can choose to defer the application and ask for that if that's.
I did ask for one, Kathy, but the applicant's on holidays this week, so there was a delay in getting it.
Okay, thank you. Just, I had noticed that it might come, so I was watching for it.
Yeah, and when I said that, I didn't realize that he was on vacation when I had completed the agenda, so found that out later.
Okay, I think we'll get started with the meeting. It is 3:01. So maybe I will call the meeting to order. Good afternoon. This is the Township of Centre Wellington Committee of Adjustment, Thursday, August the 20th, 2020, and it's being held in the well, it's not in the council chambers, it's electronic, and it's 3:01, and I'll call the meeting to order. And the first order of business, of course, is the disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Is there any, oh, I guess I should do roll call first. I'm sorry, I'll just back up. I guess I just confirm that all members are present. Aaron?
Yeah, here.
Yeah. Brad?
Yep, I'm here.
Fernando? No? Kathy?
I'm here.
And staff, we have Chantal, our secretary.
Yes.
Senior planner, Mariana.
Yes, I'm here.
And CBO, Randy.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. Okay, so I will carry on again for disclosure of pecuniary interest. Under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And so any conflict to declare, I will start. Aaron?
I have no conflicts.
Brad?
No conflicts.
Kathy?
No conflict.
Thank you. Our next order of business will be to confirm the minutes from the July 16th meeting. Any corrections or discussions there? Aaron? Brad? And Kathy?
Nope.
So may I have a mover then for the to approve the minutes from July the 16th, 2020?
I can move it.
Okay. And then may I have a seconder?
I can second that.
Okay, and seconded by Kathy. All in favor of approving the minutes? Brad?
Yep, I'm in favor.
Kathy,
In favor.
and Aaron.
In favor.
All right, okay, and that's carried. So our first application then today is application A15/2020. It's for variance from the fence bylaw. Relief, whoops, sorry. The relief is being requested to allow a 2.5, or sorry, I'll start again. 2.45 meter or 8-foot fence constructed with 2 meters of solid board and 0.45 meters of privacy lattice in lieu of the bylaw requirement of 2 meters or 6.56 feet, with 50% of the fence to be open over 1.5 meters in height. The effect of the variance is to allow a fence with a total height of 2.4 meters or 8 feet, constructed with 2 meters of solid board and 0.45 meters of privacy lattice on this property. There was, Chantal, could you just confirm for us that the signage has been posted on the property for this application?
Yes, it was. And just to carry, Fernando emailed and said he's waiting to be let in. Is he?
Oh, here we are.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I saw him for a brief second, but he disappeared, so I've been
Okay.
looking for him.
Okay. He just emailed me. I don't,
Okay, tell him to try it again because he's not there.
okay.
Unless he's under some other name, like Nelly.
Okay, I'll try again.
Okay, I did see him briefly, but then when I went to let him in, he was gone.
Okay, maybe we can just carry on then until he gets on. Okay, we have the applicant for the fence variance present. I take it?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Would you mind just giving us a brief overview of your application? And and we'll take it from there.
Oh, okay, so thank you for meeting with us today. Bridget and myself, yes, we were building this privacy fence in the backyard, and basically the gist of it is we just want to get the side yard the same height as the rear yard, more or less. And it's for privacy and, shelter from the wind, etc. We also, there's other fences within the community that are the same height, right, or higher, and we just want equality with that. I think it's a solid fence. It's aesthetically, everybody's commented on it that's come by every day, and they're looking forward to seeing it completed. And we also went with the black lattice on the top, which is actually more open than regular lattice. Aesthetically, again, it looks better, and it's a little more open. It's not so walled off. And the mailbox, yes, of course, is right there. So there's a lot of foot traffic right on the sidewalk. And putting a deck up would put you, if we kept the side yard, the bylaw height of just over 6 feet, there's really not very much privacy at all. And we're looking, down the road to it, potentially putting a pool in or a hot tub and or both. So we're just looking basically for privacy.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. Maybe first of all, I will ask if the committee members have any questions for the applicants. I'll start, Brad?
Yeah, thank you. I just have a question for, I guess, context. So there was a photo provided with the application that shows the 4x4 fence posts in place already. Is that sort of roughly the height of the fence is going to be? Or will those be cut down a little bit? Like, I'm just trying to visualize what the fence was going to look like.
Yes, the fence will be, the posts will be cut down to the height they were put in because, I mean, they have to be higher so you can cut them right if they're lower. So it's, I'm not sure what pictures you've seen there, but yeah, they'll be cut down probably another 1.5 feet or 2 off the ones that are by the road. Like the ones in question, sort of.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That's all I have, Janice.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, any questions?
I have no question.
Aaron?
Quick question. Was there just one property that was in opposition?
As far as we know, yes.
Okay, and it looks like you got a lot of support based on what was included in the package. Were those all the properties that provided support?
They were
on the other side.
Across the street, down the street, people that are looking from this side, you know, from Stafford and all around the community. Anybody that walks their dogs or anything that's by, and also, you know, any friends that we know, and many people that we don't know showed obviously, you know, a huge sign of support for us. Overwhelming, really.
Yes, it was 27 letters all total.
Really.
Yes. Yes. Now is, sorry, was that all of the questions that you had, Aaron?
Thanks. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Now, has Fernando joined us now? No? Okay.
No, it sounds like he might be having some issues. We're trying to get him in, so just.
Okay, okay. I didn't want to exclude him from the conversation. Okay. Okay. So, any questions at all for staff on this particular application? Kathy?
Just a question in regards to the other fence that we talked about. Would this be sort of the same height as the other fence variance that we allowed?
You're asking me, sorry?
No,
staff.
sorry.
It's a
Staff.
question for staff.
Yeah, so I believe it would come in a couple inches shorter, because I believe that last one was 8 feet 2 inches that we permitted. It may have had a couple sections where it was slightly over just because of grading, but it was on average around 8 feet 2 inches. This one would come in at around that finished height at 8 feet.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Brad, any questions for staff at all?
No questions for staff.
Aaron, any questions for staff?
No question.
So now, I guess, do we have any, I know we have the 27 letters, but are there any other persons registered to be heard today to speak either in support or in opposition to this particular application?
Yes, I am.
Yes, if you'd like to state your name and just give us the committee a brief overview of your concerns.
So my name is Joao Da Silva. I live on 74 Stafford Street, and I'm here to express my support in favor of the relief for the variance. I am actually a property owner of the other fence that was approved in January, and as Satnam said, it's Andrew and Bridget's fence is slightly a little bit shorter than ours. Ours has some areas where a little bit higher due to grading, But what I wanted to say is that they have the same issues as I do on my property. So it's a corner lot. It's a lot more exposed than a regular middle lot. They have similar intentions to have features in their backyard that do require some more privacy, like a pool or a hot tub. And they actually have an added feature on the side that it is concerning, and it is the mailbox. So definitely, I think they do need a relief to the variance on its own. Regarding the fence, I actually like it very much. It's a different approach, a horizontal board fence with more contemporary elements to it. It actually adds value to the neighborhood. It gives a little bit of a twist, so it's not just that conventional full board like mine. I actually like theirs so much that if I could, I would redo mine to do something very similar. I love that the lattice on the top. I think it's visually very, very pleasing. So overall, what I want to say is I think that their fence, in terms of height, is not out of scope with what others have. It's actually slightly shorter than the one that was approved earlier this year, ours. I believe that they should have their relief granted just on that basis alone.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other persons wishing to speak to this particular application, either in support or opposed? Okay. Hearing none then, are there any additional questions at all for either the applicant or staff from any member? Brad?
No questions.
Aaron?
No.
Kathy?
Nope.
No. And I take it Fernando's not here yet. Okay. So I guess we will now open it up. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I do have a question for the committee, and particularly for Satnam. I know that these notifications for variance are usually filed whenever there is a complaint from a neighbor or some person in the neighborhood. But my concern is that the complaint towards their fence was placed with the township when there were only simple posts put in. There was no fence built yet. Is it reasonable to accept the complaint before something is actually done?
So what I can comment on some of that. So the complaint did come in. It was that a fence was being erected, and so I went out and I spoke to Andrew, and it was more of a discussion about what would be permitted, what would not be permitted. There wasn't any enforcement action that I could recall that was taken. There was Andrew openly acknowledging what was happening and letting me in and us understanding what was to be built, and we had left it at that.
Okay, because it does seem kind of strange that for one fence that is being raised, the bylaw officer is getting called to inspect and give a comment, but for other fences that get built, some of them exceeding the bylaws don't get called on. It doesn't feel like there's equality in the inspection of the fences. So I'd like to have that concern established.
Maybe that's something that what you can do is submit your concerns in writing to the township. That's not really a matter that the Committee of Adjustment can actually deal with. But you know, certainly if you have a concern with regard to how complaints are being submitted and dealt with, then please submit your concerns in writing to the township.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I guess the committee will then discuss this particular application. So what do we feel that this is minor? with respect to the bylaw and sort of in keeping with the area. And maybe I'll start out. Kathy, would you like to start out the discussion?
I'm making my decision based on this application, not having regard for the one that we did in January, because I think that each time that we do it, we need to look at the no precedents being set before. But I believe it's appropriate because of the mailboxes particularly, and they have a lot of support in the community. So I'm in favor of this application.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Brad?
Yeah, I would agree with what Kathy had said, and I'm in favor of this variance application as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Aaron?
I have no concern just to express. I'm in support.
Okay, thank you. I think, yes, I think that the application, it's there's no site restrictions, and in viewing what is there, it does look very pleasing. It's not, it's an attractive looking fence, and yeah. So, and I think it is a small enough variance that I think it's quite suitable to the area.
Thank you.
So, Chantal, can you read the discussion, or sorry, the decision then for us, please, in support of the application?
Sure. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief in the Township of Center Wellington's fence bylaw 2018-34 as amended, section 5.1, table A, item 1, permission be granted to allow a 2.45 meter, 8-foot high fence in lieu of the maximum permitted height of 2 meters with a 50% of the fence to be open over 1.5 meters in height. The effect of the variance is to allow a fence with a total height of 2.45 meters, 2 feet, constructed with 2 meters of solid board and 0.45 meters of privacy lattice on lands described as 62 Stafford Street, Lot 42, Plan 61M 183, Elora, Township of Center Wellington.
Okay, thank you. May I have a mover? Please state your name and who is moving.
Brad Dufour, I can move that.
Okay, thank you. So moved by Brad, seconded by?
I can second that. It's Kathy.
Okay, seconded by Kathy. And all in favor then? We'll go Aaron?
I'm in favor.
Brad?
I'm in favor.
And Kathy?
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. So that is, that's carried. Okay, so that's, that finalizes that particular application, and as I understand, there is no appeal period. So I guess if there is a permit or anything that you need to obtain, then you can proceed. Thank you.
Kathy, or Janice, I just wanted to let you know that Fernando's joined us. So for the next application, we can include him in the discussion and decision.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
Janice, also, I'm not sure who the names of the next applicants are, so I'm going to let a bunch in. You may want to have them introduce themselves to confirm which application they're on when they log on with 2X. I have no idea, so I'd rather bring them in and them have to sit through the one application rather than forget them. So
okay,
we need to just ask them to introduce themselves.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
All right, I'll bring them in now.
Okay. Okay, so we're all set to go then for our next application? Yes, okay. So the next application then is, it will be A16 2020, and it's Jones Baseline, Nickel. And relief is being requested to permit an increased maximum height of 5.5 meters or 18 feet, as opposed to the maximum permitted 4.6 meters or 15 feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an accessory building. Chantal, can you confirm that the signs for this meeting have been posted on this property?
Yep, they were posted and an email was sent. Thank you.
Okay. So we have the applicant or agent present to speak to this application?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. If you could please state your name and then give us a brief outline of your application, please.
My name's Kevin Job. My wife and myself own the property that you guys are talking about, and just want to put up a shop, garage that I can use as a hobby garage and park my toys and everything like that in there.
Okay. Okay. All
And
right.
I have a motor home, and so that's the main reason why I need to go a little bit taller, because you can't get a motor home in a standard garage height.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. Anything else to add, or that's?
No.
Okay.
No, I spent a lot of time and money on drawings and engineering and all that, so it's all ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. I will now ask if the committee members have any questions for the applicant. I'll start out with Brad.
I have no questions.
No. Fernando?
No questions.
Kathy?
Just wondering how close your neighbors would be, if you have any, to your new shed.
Probably, I've got one neighbor across the road that originally owned the farm. And then I've got probably 600-700 acres around me. So I have no neighbors.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Aaron? Any questions?
Quick question. Yeah, quick question. There's no residential here? It's an accessory apartment? It's just a shop and a garage / storage area? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Now, are there any questions at all for staff? Aaron?
No questions.
Brad?
None.
Fernando?
No questions.
Kathy?
No question.
Okay, thank you. So are there any other persons registered today to be heard who wish to speak either in support or in opposition to this particular application? Okay, seeing none. All right, so I take it that there's no additional questions then. So I think the committee will now discuss the request, and if we feel that it is minor in nature and in keeping with the zoning bylaw and official plan. And we'll start out, Fernando, would you like to start the discussion?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't have any objections to this proposal.
Okay. Okay. Brad?
Yeah, I have no concerns with the proposal as well.
And Aaron?
No concerns. Drawings look great. Looks like a good use of the property.
And Kathy?
Have no concern.
Okay. Yes, I don't see any concern with it. It is fairly minor, and it will actually enclose some of the equipment and so forth, instead of it being out on the property. So I think it's a good use. Okay, so Chantel, can you read the decision then in support of this particular application, please?
Sure can. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief in the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.2, table 4B, item D, permission be granted to allow an increased maximum height of 5.5 meters, 18 feet, as opposed to the maximum permitted of 4.6 meters, 15.1 feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an accessory building on lands described as 6260 Jones Baseline, concession section 3, part lot 14, Nickel, Township of Center Wellington.
Thank you. So can I have a mover, and please state your name?
I can move it, Aaron.
Okay, so moved by Aaron, and a seconder, please.
I can second.
Fernando?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So seconded by Fernando. All in favor? Brad?
Yep, in favor.
Fernando?
In favor.
Kathy?
In favor.
And Aaron?
In favor.
Okay, and that's carried. So there is a 20-day appeal period, in which you can then proceed to get your building permit and come back in and speak with the building department. So anyway, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so our next application then is application A17 2020. It's 7577 6 line Nickel, and relief is being requested to permit an increased maximum floor area for an accessory apartment of 129.14 square meters, or 1,390 square feet, as opposed to the maximum permitted 100 square meters, or 1,076 square feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an addition to an existing accessory apartment. So Chantel, can I just confirm that the signage for this meeting has been posted on this property?
Yes, it was. Thanks.
Thank you. And do we have an applicant or agent present to speak to this application?
That would be me, Scott Stevens. I'm John and Ann's son. Living on the same property. We're in the main house, and my parents are in the secondary accessory apartment.
Okay. So if I'm sorry, your name is John, did you say?
My name is Scott. I'm John.
I'm sorry, Scott. Okay. Sorry. If you would like to just give us a brief outline of the application and what you're looking for, and why.
So we purchased the property 6 or 7 weeks ago now. So my wife and I and our 2 kids live in the main house, and my parents are living in the other one. And so they're looking to just add a little bit more space, basically a living room and a great room and such, onto their place. It's kind of both of our long-term homes. They're planning on living here for a long time. We're planning on being here for a long time as well. We've been kind of looking for this kind of place for about 5 years or so. And so That's why we're looking to have this minor variance.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Now, I'll ask if there's any questions then from the committee members for the applicant. Let's start with Brad.
No questions.
Kathy?
No question.
Fernando?
Yes, I have one question. I was trying to look on the map and I couldn't find the actual property. So I was just wondering if there are any neighbors around.
Would you like me to answer that, Janice?
Yes, please.
The closest neighbor is about, we can see one of them from our backyard. It's about maybe half a kilometer down the hill and then up on the other side. It's like there's a valley in between us. So we can see their house from our backyard. They can see it. It's pretty distant. You can't make out much detail. And then the next closest neighbors going towards Eniottville would be maybe about half a kilometer as well. They're a little further up a hill and then down, so we can't see their property and they can't see ours. And then there's no neighbors across the road or anything.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Aaron, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. And I guess I do have a question. This is the addition is for a living room onto the existing.
So the goal is going to be extending it. Like there will be an unfinished basement, I believe, in there as well. But the purpose, the biggest thing is just, so right now the accessory apartment has a living room, dining room, kitchen on the main floor that's quite small. And so the idea is to make that a bit bigger, kind of become a room where it's the same thing, a living room, kitchen, dining room, but it just has more space. Right now it's really tight. You can't fit much more than a four-person table in there and such. So it's just to kind of extend it out just a little bit, just to give a little more space there.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Does any of the committee members have any questions then for staff at all? Kathy?
No question.
Fernando?
No questions.
Brad?
No questions.
Aaron?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Now, are there any other persons registered today to be heard who wish to speak either in support or in opposition to this particular application? Okay, hearing none. I guess that there's no additional questions then, unless anyone has one. The committee will now discuss the application, and if we feel that it is minor and in keeping with the zoning and official plan. I'll start out with Brad.
Yeah, I have no concerns. I think it'll be well suited for the property. There's no neighbors in behind. Next neighbors to the left and right are at a distance. So I think this sort of makes sense, and I have no concerns.
Okay, thank you. Fernando?
Yeah, I have no concerns about this proposal.
Okay. Aaron?
No further comment.
And Kathy?
I like that it is attached to the existing building as opposed to being separate, so I have no concerns.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, I think it's relatively minor in nature, and it just gives them a little more room, and the dwelling is there anyway, or the accessory apartment is there. It's just providing a little extra room, so I think it's fine. Chantal, can you read the decision then in support of the application, please?
Yes, I can. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.1, table 4A, permission be granted to allow an accessory apartment with an increased maximum area of 129.14 meters squared, 1,390 square feet, as opposed to the maximum permitted floor area of 100 meters squared, or 1,076 square feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an addition to an existing accessory apartment on lands described as 75777 6th line in Section 7, Part Lot 4, Nickel, Township of Wellington.
Thank you. So could I have a mover?
Sorry, Chantal, I just want to confirm, when you read the address, you said concession 7. It should be concession 6. I just want to make it 7577 concession 6, which I think is on all the applications, but I just want to make sure that was just a misspeak and that we have the right address there.
Okay, I'll double check the legal description and the decision, but yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah. The address, the numerical address is right. It's just perhaps there's a typo, but I can't.
Yeah, sure.
But
It's not.
I'll just read it.
Yeah, it's not concession 7. It's concession 6. So I think it's probably just a typo. Everything else is correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So can I have a mover then for the decision, please? Please state your name.
Brad, and I can move that.
Okay, moved by Brad and seconded by
Kathy, I will second it.
Okay, and thank you, seconded by Kathy, and all in favor. Aaron?
In favor.
Brad?
In favor.
Fernando?
In favor.
Kathy?
In favor.
All right, and so that is carried. So all in favor and carried. Good. So there is a 20-day appeal period before you can then come back into the township and make your application for building permit and so forth. But that has been approved for you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Okay. So our last application then, A18/2020, 6640 second line, West Garifraxa. And relief is being requested to permit a second dwelling as opposed to the bylaw requirements stating no more than one main building is permitted per lot. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of a second dwelling on the property with an existing principal residence. Chantal, can you confirm that there has been sign posted for this meeting on the property?
Yes, sign on the property.
Okay, thank you. And do we have the applicant or agent present wishing to speak to the application? Yes, is there an applicant or agent for this particular application? Please state your name. We don't have any applicant present for this application?
Yeah, Janice, I've just brought them all in. I think they may or may, oh, Okay. Maybe, and I think they're
Okay,
ready
we
now.
got Luke. Luke?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You're not, are you the applicant? No.
I am the applicant, but
Oh.
I was not supposed to speak. The speaker would be Keith Hoeksema.
Okay, so,
Looks like Keith is on mute right now.
oh, okay,
Okay,
maybe.
there you go. Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you,
We
Keith.
can hear you, Keith.
Keith?
Okay, there we go. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm here. All right, this is
Oh.
really good for me.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Keith, don't worry, we're all learning this.
Okay.
So if you would like to, just, state your name, and you are the agent, for the applicant, I take it? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. And, so if you'd like to give us a brief overview of, what the application is about and what you're looking for, please.
So basically, Luuk and Sjoukje would like to build a second house on that property. They'd like to remain on that property. It's towards the front, the northern side, I guess, it looks like on the property. We've moved the house where we originally had closer to the driveway to meet the setbacks, a lot closer to the property line, and further away from the neighbor's house of Terry Little's, that kind of stuff. We've also, since last Friday when I met with Terry, again, we switched the angle of the garage so that the garage doors will face south, not to the road, but to the driveway, the existing driveway to the main house. This way, there will be no headlights or anything affecting Terry's property and noise and whatever else. When I spoke with him on Friday or Saturday, he asked me to come to meet with him about 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon yet. And we went over it, and we went over his concerns, and he was receptive to these ideas, and he thought it was great that we were willing to work with him. So I'm thinking that's good. Luuk and Sjoukje would like to have this as a retirement home, but as a one level, of course, because they're getting a little older, and Sjoukje has a little more difficulty with walking and stuff like that. What else could I say? The well is a very, very strong well. The Jenny Mobile wash used to be there. So they would fill their trucks up as well with water. They're a mobile washing machine, like for shopping carts and whatever else. So, and they have a big reservoir tank as well. So I don't think water is an issue. I think they have lots of water there. Hydro did not have an issue when I spoke with them for feeding the second line. So, and all the sub-trades I spoke to had no concerns like septic, geosolar for heating. All of them were good. So it's an ideal situation, I would say.
Okay, all right. Anything else to add then? No.
No, I think I'd be open to questions, of course, but yeah.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
wait, I know what I could add. So we moved the house over to the driveway side. It's like about 45 feet away from the main driveway, but there's a row of trees and there's a line of hydro. Wires go up. We're about 24 feet from the edge of the hydro lines, the edge of the branches to where the new house would go.
Okay, so it is closer than what it
Yes.
shows on our site plan, and then that much further away. Do you know how many feet away from the property line?
Yeah, 112 feet.
112. And what was it on your original?
Oh boy, I'll have to check. It was a lot less.
Okay.
And it was like 60. So, and then I spoke with Terry. He thought that was really good that we moved it that further over. So.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. If you have nothing else to add, then I will then ask if any of the committee members do have any questions for the agent, for Keith.
Yep.
Brad, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So on the site plan that was provided to us, and I think you mentioned this, that the driveway and garage were shown on the north side, but now they're going to be on the south side, so in between the house and the existing driveway. Is that correct?
So you're kind of correct. So the township doesn't like us to have a second driveway coming off the road.
Yeah.
So we have to use the main driveway going to the house that's there, and then just as we go in there, we veer to the right, and then it goes right into the garage of the house. So everything stays, so we're not making a second driveway, nothing of that. And this way, when you drive in the driveway, you're facing the house and the garage and not the neighbor's property.
Okay, so the garage, is it on the north side of the house or the south side of the house?
North side of the house.
Okay. And
the garage doors are facing south, right?
Okay, I see now. Okay.
Turn that thing completely around.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was unaware to get you a new set of drawings because this has just happened like Saturday late afternoon, like 5 o'clock, with Terry and I talking about it. So.
And then the 100-foot setback, is that from the edge of like the driveway or from the edge of the garage to the property line?
The 100-foot. Oh, that's to the edge of the garage. Yes, the most northern point of the house.
Okay.
Of the garage. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Janice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Kathy, any questions for the agent, Keith?
I wondered why this particular spot was chosen as opposed to the other side of the driveway.
Okay, the other side of the driveway, we're going to get into the GRCA section, right? So this is something we don't really want to do in GRCA. It makes it much more difficult, much more, maybe more problems, septic, etc. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
And on the other side of the driveway is more agricultural. Well, I mean, this is agricultural here as well on the right hand side, but on the left hand side of that driveway, it's more of a field, is it not?
A bigger field, correct? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Fernando, any questions?
Yeah, with this, I'm trying to picture the new proposal, but I was wondering how far are you from the neighbors with this new proposal?
Okay, so for the most northern part of the new residence, that is the garage section, we're still 112 feet to the property line. Does that help you?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, good, okay.
All right. Aaron, any questions?
No questions.
No questions? Okay.
Yep.
So then, any questions at all for staff? I know staff have indicated there are three, conditions, five. There's 5 conditions that staff have outlined for this particular application. But anyway, I was just wondering, are there any questions from the committee at all for staff? Aaron?
Yeah, so the property cannot be severed in the future, or they would have to apply to do so?
Thank you. Through you, I can answer that. That is, that's correct. It cannot be severed. They could apply, but first of all, they would pre-consult with us, and we would say that there's no policy basis for that to happen. We're caught in, and just for the committee's benefit, I'll provide you a little bit of background here. We're caught sort of in between this period of time where we have the provincial policy saying that we now have to allow these additional dwelling units in a detached building. And we're in the process of updating our zoning bylaw as well to actually allow these as of right without having to go to the Committee of Adjustment for a minor variance anymore. And really on an agricultural property, what we will be stipulating, and again, this is not approved by council yet, but this is how we are drafting it. The province has not laid out any size limitations at all for a second unit. So there's really nothing saying that it has to be smaller, but that's sort of where our direction is going, is that we are going to be saying that as long as it's not larger than the existing house, then they would be able to put a unit in. And on an agricultural property, this house is about 2,300 square feet, the existing house on the property. The new house is about 1,800 or so, and maybe Keith can correct me on that, but it's roughly that. So it is quite a bit smaller, but we would typically allow this, but our bylaw is not in effect yet. So right now we're asking again for the committee to look at it as a minor variance, but we are in the process of updating the bylaw as I just said, to be in keeping with the provincial policies. What they will say is that what the zoning bylaw will say is that these second dwellings are not going to be permitted to be severed. So they are only constructed as second units, and that is going to be in our system. In terms of approvals, we will, from a building code standpoint, in terms of our filing as well, we are going to be calling them second or additional dwelling units. So it will be clear that these are meant to be additional to a primary residence and would not have any policy basis to allow severance in the future. I hope that answers the question. I can say that now as well, even under current policy, you cannot sever a dwelling from a property to construct a new dwelling unless it's, you can only sever a farmhouse from farmland right now. But what happens is the balance gets rezoned, like the farmland gets rezoned to not allow a dwelling. So typically, those are the only severances permitted right now for residential purposes.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Brad?
Yeah, I have a question about step-backs, and this sort of relates to the first condition. So the measurement of the setback comes off of the house, of the structure, so that wouldn't necessarily include if they were to put a driveway or parking area between the edge of the house and the property line. Is that correct?
That suggested condition would be to the edge of house, so to the building. But if the committee wants to put in any kind of condition about a driveway setback, we could do that. So the committee could put in any conditions that it feels are appropriate prior to issuance of a building permit. So those conditions would need to be fulfilled prior to issuance of a building permit. What I'm suggesting as well in the conditions for the committee to consider is that they do provide a location plan to planning staff so that we can review and ensure that all the conditions are met before we give the go-ahead for the building staff to issue a building permit. So it's whatever conditions the committee feels are appropriate to ensure compatibility.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Fernando?
Yes, question for staff. I was wondering how far are we from updating the PPS and the zoning bylaw?
Yes, so we have drafted the actual amendment. The issue with this one is because it's township wide, we have been holding off because we are not having regular council meetings right now. So just in terms of trying to obtain more public input and involvement, we are waiting. At this point, we're waiting until normal council meetings resume where the public can attend. But as we don't know what's going to happen in the future, it's sort of still on hold. But if this COVID situation persists well into the future, we may consider taking it via Zoom meeting, the online meeting format anyway. because we do need to put these into place very soon, just to meet the provincial policy direction. The county as well has drafted theirs, but they're in the same position we are. They're waiting until normal meetings resume before taking it forward because it's a county-wide policy. So typically when things are involve the entire county or the entire township, we try to wait. We are trying to wait until the normal meetings resume. But again, as I said, if they don't resume, we will look at taking them forward anyway, likely. So we're probably, I would say, a couple of months away, maybe a month or two away, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
And Kathy, any questions?
No question.
Okay. So, are there any persons registered today to be heard who wish to speak either in support or in opposition to this particular application? And if you could please state your name.
Sure. My name's Terry Little. I live at 6662 Second Line. We share a property line with the DeHaans.
Yes.
I submitted some paperwork for you folks to peruse. Sorry it was late, but I didn't get the notice until recently. So if you don't mind, I'd be happy to read it into record if that's what you'd like me to do, or how would you like to approach this?
No, I think I think all of the committee members received a copy of that letter, and along with two other letters from two neighbors. 6683 Second Line and 666 Second Line, plus the evaluation from your agent, real estate agent. So I think if you would like to just give us an overview of your. Now I take it that you from Keith that you have been in contact with him and you have been able to resolve some of your concerns by the sounds of it. So maybe you could speak to that, what your concerns were and if they in fact have been resolved.
Sure. So I'm really pleased to say that we've been able to continue an ongoing civil conversation with the Hans. So that was definitely appreciated. Keith has been really good to work with as well. So we did have the opportunity to speak with them about our concerns, and as such, they have in fact moved what was on the original plot plan closer to their property, which helps us out a little bit. The primary issue we had with the existing plot plan was the location to our property line originally. As they move it over, that's great. The driveway itself is problematic. In the way that it is currently laid out. Luke and I were out, I think it was last night or the night before at 9 o'clock in the dark, and he drove his vehicle in to where he thought the garage doors were, and it was a problem for our property for sure. Because I don't think Luke and Keith are on the same page yet with regards to adjusting where the doors are on the garage. So Keith and Luke, I don't know if you can speak to that or not, but I'll leave that for the time being. I think the biggest challenge that my wife and I have is the, I don't want to call it invasion of privacy, but certainly putting a dwelling, 30 feet away from our property line, it takes away from our ability to enjoy our retirement, which hopefully is in a couple of years, as it's directly across from our deck. It's outside our bedroom window and our master bath as well. The DeHaans themselves, a lovely couple. I don't think there'll be any issue with them as the parents move into that house, but eventually there'll be another family move in there. And that, we don't know who we're going to get for neighbors. It will be a family member, obviously, we hope, unless they rent it out or do something different. So you have to look to the future here a little bit about this stuff. So we've had a good conversation. Certainly my wife and my preference is that the house be moved to the south side of the driveway. If you look at the plot plan, You can see where the barn is there. If you draw a straight line from the barn across to my property, that is currently what is tilled up to be used as yard for this particular house. And it's more likely a couple acres of property. If you look from the road and draw a straight line or a 90-degree angle from the road up to where the green space ends next to the pool, there's sufficient room there for a house to be built on that side of the property. In terms of the GRCA, I'm sorry, I didn't speak with them. I don't know if that property is in fact a challenge on that side. I do know at the lower lands where the floodplains are certainly would be, but not this particular field. So our argument would be that, you know, instead of creating a potential intrusion into our privacy, as well as the devaluation of our property, by moving the property to the south side of the driveway meets the needs of the DeHaans. They can build the house that they want to build. It still has to go to their driveway anyways. And we think that that is the best possible solution. Another alternative, of course, was to build a granny suite onto the existing house. That would have no bearing or issue for our property. And we'd certainly support that as well. So, the bylaw today says one house per lot. Mariana has indicated that that's going to change sometime in the future. That's not where we are today. We want to support the DeHaans. We it's important for them to be on the family farm, and we'd ask that you consider our concerns as well as part of this thought process. The valuation, I don't think anybody in this particular meeting has $100,000 to give away, and certainly that's a concern for us as well. So. Not sure if there's anything else that you'd like to hear from us, other than that this is our forever home. My wife was literally in tears when we seen the plot plan and got this note, and that's not a good situation for our family.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Are there any other persons who wish to speak in support or in opposition to this particular application? If you could please state your name. No, hearing none. Okay. Are there any other questions at all from the committee of either the applicant or I think maybe Keith, would you like to just sort of comment on some of the objections that you heard? Because I was kind of under the understanding that maybe the house had been moved away considerably from the property line?
That's correct, Dennis. The thing is, I think Terry might be right that Luke and I are not on the same page about the garage doors. The garage doors are definitely facing south, not from the second line. So it's the whole garage blocks Terry's house. I don't know where Luke drove last night, so I can't help you there. I did put stakes out quickly Monday morning with the red caution tape of how it is, but I didn't have time because I'm actually on holidays, so I delayed that by an hour and then left. But it definitely will block it. Now we've also talked about if we need to put a berm up and trees, more trees between the two properties. There's a fair bit of trees there now, but as they get older, it'd be good to put some new fresh ones in as well. We're okay with that as well. Plus, it would help the landscaping. So I think the distraction for the lights and stuff like that can definitely be dealt with, and stuff. But it's just a matter of maybe I have to meet there and mark it out a little better with Terry and make sure he's happy. That could be a condition for use. But I think that's definitely the way the new garage is will block that view.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions from committee members of either Keith or I'm sorry, Terry. Sorry. When I don't see faces, it's hard to remember names. Anyway, Kathy, do you have any additional questions?
I'm having a lot of difficulty making a decision when I can't see where the house is going to be. And I wonder about whether this could be deferred until we get the proper picture of where the house is going to be and how the driveway is going to go into the garage so that it's not going to impact the neighbors. For myself, I would feel a lot more comfortable, even with the conditions of staff, to ask for a deferral until we can see a proper site plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sure. We'll discuss that during our discussion. I'm somewhat agreeing that I think that's sort of the route I would like to see as well. Fernando, do you have any additional questions for the applicant or staff or Terry?
No, I'm in the same page as Katie. It's trying to picture the proposal and understand both sides. But again, it is hard. The only thing that I'm trying to picture here is I don't know what's the concern with the GRCA. It seems like they have enough space to have the proposal in the other side, the south end of the property. But again, it is very hard to make a decision, without a clear picture of the proposal.
Okay. Brad?
Yeah, I have no further questions at this time.
Okay. And Aaron?
A question that may be for staff to remind the committee what our responsibilities are as it relates to this application. We're not necessarily planning the site, but we're making a decision if it's minor in nature from what the OP currently says. So to defer it based on the position of the house and where the driveway is going to be, is that really in the purview of the committee? And maybe we collectively feel that it is. I just want to make sure that we're thinking that through.
Sorry, is that a question for me? Yeah. Okay. So really, we struggled a little bit with, let's say, how to phrase this as a variance, because I think technically it is an accessory apartment in a detached dwelling, similar to several other ones that you've had. However, just due to the size and the fact that we're sort of between policy directions right now, we thought it was better to just call it a second dwelling and a little simpler anyway that way. But what the committee needs to agree that it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. The intent of the zoning bylaw right now is to ensure that these additional or second dwellings or accessory apartments in a detached building are, the reason they go to you is to ensure that they're not creating negative impacts on adjacent properties. So they're allowed, the Committee of Adjustment is allowed to consider them on a case-by-case basis, ensuring that there are no negative impacts and ensuring that they meet that intent of the bylaw, that they're a second, allowing a second dwelling or an additional unit, but not having negative impacts. So if the committee feels that it needs to add some conditions on the variance in order to ensure that the negative impacts are mitigated or minimized, then the committee is able to do that. So in terms of what you're really looking at, the intent is to allow these units, but just to ensure that the impacts are minimal. So you can add conditions and you can leave it to staff, but you could also have it come back so that you can see the site plan and be satisfied with it. the variance itself is only, the only question is, are you allowing the second dwelling really for the variance? But if you feel that there's a need to put in conditions and to see a site plan before you can impose those conditions, then I would suggest you defer and wait for that site plan.
Would it be possible to, when you do the site plan, to draw it up in such a manner that it shows the new position of the home, as well as one on the south side of the home as well? Because that's really what we're talking about here.
Yes, that would be the intent. Yes, we would have to see exactly, the site plan where it's the house is proposed to be. Yes, but the committee is in discussion right now. So we would like to maybe discuss the this application. I want to get the committee's take on it, please. I would actually agree with Kathy and maybe propose that. I mean, I understand what Marianne is saying, but I think before approving the application, yeah, I'd like to see exactly where it's going and see the new site plan and so forth. I don't know, maybe we can open that up for discussion. Kathy, I think, well, I'll let you speak again, Kathy.
Is it possible to, I guess this is for the committee, but for Mariana, why have we not seen something from the GRCA if in fact, is it because the proposal is not on GRCA property, or where they have concern?
Sure, I can answer that. I mean, I'm just looking at the map in front of me right now, and I put on the GRCA regulated area, the layer. And there is a creek or some kind of water course that runs along south on the southern part of the property. And then there's a wetland and creek in behind that. So the GRCA regulated area is south. There's a considerable distance, I would say, where it wouldn't, there's a lot of land before it actually meets the GRCA regulated area. I can actually even just measure it off here and tell you how far that is. Yeah, I would say there's at least from where the existing house is to the GRCA regulated area is it's about 100 meters. So sorry, just to summarize, I guess, the GRCA wouldn't technically even need to be approving this because it's well outside their regulated area.
Yeah, and just to add, if when I send the notices out to the GRCA, if the proposal is not within the regulated area, they don't provide comments.
Thank you. So I guess I have concerns hearing what our decision should be, and I still feel as though I don't feel as though the neighbors' concerns are being addressed as much as they could be, and I would like a deferral, and I also would like to see what it would look like if the house was on the other side of the driveway, and have a consideration from GRCA whether or not it would have concerns about a dwelling being there. That way I would feel more comfortable. The neighbors' concerns would be met and the DeHaans would still have their secondary dwelling.
Brad? Your comments?
Yeah, on the pure basis of permitting a second dwelling on the property, I don't really have any objections to that. And yeah, I think everybody else is in agreement. And yeah, just to provide that sort of comfort from the neighbor there, I guess, to ensure his concerns are addressed. I would also like to see a revised site plan provided. It seems to be that there's maybe some disconnect between the builder, the applicant, and the neighbor in terms of what's going where. So it would be good to sort of see that laid out so that we can, properly judge whether or not this meets the four criteria.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful, again, depending on how we're going to interpret the placement of the driveway and how light trespass of car headlights are going to behave. I think that's going to be difficult for the committee to judge from the site plan. But it sounds like that's the direction the committee wants to go, so I can support it. I mean, there are driveways in the area where there would be existing light trespass. And I think we should consider that the existing dwelling at 662 is right on the property line also. But that isn't to say that there aren't some negative impacts that we can try and mitigate as much as possible. But I hope as a committee we don't feel that every single thing is going to be solved, and it'll be tough to judge that through a site plan. But I'd be willing to support waiting for that site plan to make a decision.
Okay, thank you. Fernando? Your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I'm with everybody's decision. The good thing about this case that the both neighbors are in good talks, but at this moment seems like they've been doing changes last minute. I don't feel confident to make a decision at the moment. So I guess at this point, it's better just to continue with the good conversation and make a good decision for both parties.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would support those comments as well. So maybe.
Sorry, Janice. Could we ask the applicant to include where the berm is going to be on the site plan, and noting the vegetation or whatever is going to be used for the privacy?
Yes. Good. Yes. Okay. So
Janice, if you wanna go ahead with the deferral, we'll just need someone to bring that forward, and then a mover and a seconder to get that deferred and.
Right. Okay.
Sine dies, just to allow for, if it doesn't happen at the next meeting, we do allow for more time. So we just do a deferral sine die.
Oh, sure. Okay. Okay. So maybe could I have a mover then to defer the application until such time as we can see a site plan, showing, the location of the house and the berm and how it addresses the concerns of the neighbors.
Yeah, I can move it.
Okay, so moved by Fernando, seconded by.
Sorry.
Could I have a second?
Did you want to say something, Mariana?
I did want to ask something then. There was discussion, sorry, Janice, there was discussion about, are you asking the applicant to explore the option of moving it to the other side or not? Like I think that should be stated if that's the expectation, because staff will be working with the applicant in order to sort of set out the information you're looking for. And is that one of the sort of criteria or what you're asking for? Is it to explore alternate location on the other side of the driveway if it's not impacted by GRCA, or are we just proposing to look at the existing location that's being proposed? I just want a clarification on that.
Oh, certainly. Yes, it was good point, because I had, we'll start. Maybe what I will do is, if there's anything in particular that you would like to see, on the site plan, or any concerns, Aaron, anything that And is alternate location something that we would like to see?
Would I like to see an alternate location? No, I'm okay to see how the existing location is going to be mitigated as much as possible. I'll leave that to the rest of the committee and staff to determine if the other location should be explored.
Brad?
Yeah, I would think it's worth exploring. I think the justification provided to basically negate having the house on that side of the driveway wasn't really there. So I don't see any reason why the house should not be there. So I would support them providing a revised location to include the house on the south side of the driveway.
Okay. Fernando?
I don't have an issue with the Keystone proposal, but like I said, if they're in good talks between both parties, and if there is an alternative location, we're more than welcome to listen. But I just primarily I just want to see where the proposal is going to be, and to have like a clear picture of the whole site.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy, you're looking for an alternate location?
Well, I would like to see where the house is going to go on the north side, where the proposal is, and the driveway going into the garage and all of that. But I also would like a secondary proposal on the south side if it's not impacted by GRCA lands. Is that clear?
Yes, Marianne, I think, does that answer your question, or no?
No, I think what we'll try to do is just work with the applicant and the neighbor to see if we can resolve all the concerns. Yeah. And then hopefully that'll be satisfactory to the committee.
And maybe what you can do is just explore the idea with them of moving it, and if it is like GRCA, if there is an impact by GRCA, all it would be is a permit from GRCA, and I shouldn't say all it is.
What we look at as staff anyway is from the policy perspective, and the county's policy here is that it has to be within the existing cluster of buildings. So I've been working with Mr. Hoeksema about that, like trying to get it within the existing cluster, trying to get it closer, and trying to understand what the owner's intentions and needs are in terms of access to this building. So I think maybe just understanding that a little bit better and trying to come up with a solution that meets everybody's needs is really just the direction that we need.
Okay. Okay. Kathy, is that okay with you?
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. So basically then, I would need a motion then to, we'll defer the application, and bring back a site plan that sort of meets the needs of both the applicant and neighbor to the best of their abilities. Whatever's going to fit, right? Any suggestions from any committee members of something different, or can I have a mover to defer?
No. Yeah, I would agree, and I would recommend that we defer.
Okay.
So I'd like to bring that forward.
All right. So moved by Brad then, and seconded by?
I will second that.
Okay, and seconded by Kathy.
And could I just add that they should include the berm and landscaping also on their site plan?
Yes. Yes, that would normally be something we would do on site plan anyway, right? Yes, Marianne?
Well, site plan approval is not required on a lot of this size, but a location plan is something you can ask for, and it's been provided already, something similar. So it's basically a location sketch. It's not a formal site plan approval, but
Right.
it's a location sketch just to help determine where everything will be located.
Okay. So a location sketch then with showing berm and landscaping. Okay. Okay. Is that, do you have, is that good, Chantel?
Yep,
As far as
Mover and a
the,
seconder, so that's good. I just need to make sure it's carried. Yeah.
okay, okay. Okay, so all in favor, Aaron,
In favor.
Brad,
Yep, in favor.
Fernando,
In favor.
Kathy?
In favor.
Okay, so that is carried then. So we are deferring that application. Okay. So that has been deferred. So thank you then to the applicant and to Terry for your submissions, and you will get notice of, well, you can work with the with staff on the revisions. Okay, so that concludes that particular application then. Okay. Is there any other business that we need to take care of, Chantal?
No, I have nothing to add. Just that there will be a meeting next month. That's September 17th. So we have 3 applications submitted for that meeting, and then if this comes back, will be a 4th.
All right. Okay, thank
That's
you.
everything.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. It was a little longer meeting today, but I think we did really well. So could I have a mover to adjourn the meeting, please?
I can move that, Aaron.
Okay, Aaron, moving, and a seconder, please.
Brad, I can second that.
And seconded by Brad, and all in favor. Aaron,
I'm in favor.
Brad,
I'm in favor.
Fernando,
I'm in favor.
and Kathy.
In favor.
Okay, and so that's carried, and the meeting